so much about our minds, so much about what we feel as meaning and value, that is a result of our entanglement with others. So it's not that if we understood ourselves perfectly at the level of the brain, the result would be a total diminishment in our view of ourselves as wondrous and wondrously made. I mean, I think it would be, in some sense, it exalts our circumstance, and it would give us, whatever is true about us ultimately, it would give us a power to change our circumstance in ways that benefit us. I mean, people want to be happier. People want to be less burdened by unnecessary psychological suffering. How can we bring that about? Is delusion the only remedy? Delusion has its place. I mean, delusion actually works for some people some of the time, but it's not. It is a fragile remedy. Reality intrudes, and then your delusions are no longer helping you. And so it seems to me that we're continually going to be in a better position to figure out how to be happy together, and to see that our collaboration with one another is not zero sum. I mean, it's not like my happiness is predicated on your losing happiness. For the most part, as human beings, our happiness is predicated on us recognizing more and more of the time that we have a common project. And it seems to me that one of the challenges of science is to figure out how to focus us on that common project with the least amount of friction, with the least amount of unnecessary, divisive, sectarian loss of resources, essentially. And when you look at the difference between science and religion in the way they break down or fail to break down boundaries between people, I mean, science is the greatest force for the removal of conversational barriers we have ever hit upon. I mean, there is no such thing as American science versus Japanese science. There's no such thing as Jewish science versus Hindu science. I mean, there's just science, and at some level that has to be true of ideas generally. It has to be true of the ideas that cash out our moral intuitions and our deepest goals in life.
So what's the mission statement of the Reason Project, which you're just starting, just very briefly?
Yeah, it really is along these lines. The goal is to spread secular thinking and scientific knowledge in society, and to do that in a very multidisciplinary way. I mean, to do it in terms of organizing conferences and funding scientific research, but also to create documentaries and media events. And we have a very diverse board, from scientists like Steven Weinberg to entertainers like Bill Maher and writers like Ian McEwan and Salman Rushdie. I mean, my image is this is a problem of transforming the way people think about the human project and transforming the kind of expectations we have of our neighbors for making sense in public discourse. And so I see a role for business and entertainment, and also hard laboratory scholarship to come at this from all angles, because we all have to start talking the talk from all sides very quickly here, it seems to me.
So what are the most salient mistakes you've made, and what did you learn from them?
Well, I didn't learn much, because one salient mistake was to talk about MDMA in an interview. So yes, I had an interview with the LA Times, and it was on track to be your standard interview, and the mention of MDMA became the atheist has his mind blown on MDMA interview. Right. So don't do that again. Yeah,
okay. Well, I'm glad you
yes,
avoided doing that again.
You can see.
That's really...
You know, I think it's going well. I mean, there's many things I could rethink, but I'm very grateful for how it has unfolded, and I feel like I've done everything in the wrong order. I published 2 books before I finished my PhD, and I mean, it's a weird, I'm in a weird
that's
position.
That's what your advisor said to me as well.
Right. So there's clearly a better way to, and a more efficient way to do some of these things, but I can't really complain.
Mm.